I was just fucking useless. We're a generation
Mm.
called the lost girls. The amount of things I feel like I missed out on. It wears down your self-esteem over time. I keep reinforcing that message to myself that I don't deserve better.
I look back at the fucking 38 years going, oh, that makes so much sense now.
It felt like I had dementia. Of it is like my house is a dumpster fire of shite everywhere. It was my little boy's birthday on the 29th of December and I totally forgot to get him a birthday card.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to Confessions of an ADHDer. Very excited to have you here, and a little special guest, which I'll intro in a minute. Who, by the way, I don't know if you can actually see this from what device you're listening to, but looking very, very gorgeous in a green and pink jumper there. So, this is the podcast, obviously, where I share my weekly ADHD fueled fuck ups, and hopefully a little bit of science behind them, and hope that my chaos can help make sense of yours. So just a quick note, of course, I'm not a medical professional. So please know this is all our own lived in experiences. If we haven't met before, hello, my name is Alice. I'm a time and energy management coach, where the ironic thing is I have ADHD. I'm also a speaker, author and founder of the Business by Design community. So grab a cuppa, get comfy, let's dive in. So I'm very, very excited because we have Kim today. I'm just going to do a very quick intro to Kim and then we're going to go straight into the juicy stuff because we've got a good confession today. Kim is a visibility activation specialist, personal branding badass, and professional cheerleader for women who are done sitting on the sidelines of their own life, which I bloody love that. If you know Kim, you know she is known for her straight talking, northern energy, and deep belief in connection first marketing. Kim helps business owners show up with clarity, confidence, and personality, which we're all for. We're for that. And she blends strategy with heart, challenges outdated rules, and makes visibility feel safer, braver, and far more human. So, Kim, thank you so much for being here, babe. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. I've been really fucking ill over Christmas, so it's nice to be able to breathe and talk again.
Well, that is pretty important for today. So we'll go straight into it, lovely, because when we were chatting in DMs about this podcast and the topic, obviously there's a confession to be had. And my confession around ADHD is, number one, I didn't know I had it. And then when I found out about it, I kind of dismissed it and was a bit like, and I'm really open about it now, but for those first 6 months, I actually shied away from it. I was very much, don't want to talk about it. How bad does it look that a time management coach has got ADHD? And so my confession is, number one, I didn't know I had it. And number two, a little side confession, is I kind of dismissed it. And I know when we were chatting in the DMs, that's what we were talking about, wasn't it? It was like the impact of not knowing that you had or have ADHD. And then when you do find out, it just kicks up all this stuff, right? And there's a huge impact of missing the fact that you've got ADHD. So just for our listeners, can you explain a little bit more about what you mean around like the impact of missing it?
So for me, it was a slightly different thing. I've always felt like something was not right with me. I very much internalized it. I very much blamed myself. I thought I was just fucking useless. Like, why will my brain not do this? Why can I not sit down and study? Why
Like I
can
felt a little bit broken and weird and something's not right.
Absolutely. I've always felt like there was just something fucking wrong with me for so many years. I mean, there's other things, but
That's a
one
different
particular
podcast.
thing. And you know what it was? And I've done a bit of research on it actually before I came on, but they call us the lost girls. We're a generation called the lost girls because so many women in particular, around the age of 40, are starting to realise, thanks to the dawn of this new awareness and social media, starting to realise that they have ADHD and actually we're not just fuck ups, we're not completely useless, we've missed out on a chunk of support, medication potentially that could change our lives and understanding. So for me, I developed, and I know we talked about this briefly in our DMs, Alice, and I want to put a trigger warning around this because it is going to be talking about eating disorders. But one of my maladaptive coping mechanisms for all this internalized hatred of myself and a poor regulation of emotions and all the other things that were happening around me at the time was that I developed an eating disorder. I've actually found out through the research today that people, I think we're 4 times more likely to develop an eating disorder if you've got ADHD. Women are far more likely, probably because it's been considered a boys'
Mm,
condition, hasn't it, for so
yeah.
long, and that's where all the research has been. So now they're like, "Oh, shit, we missed women again," as
Yeah.
usual. Women have had the shitty side of the lack of medical evidence in on this. The bulk of medical research has been into the male condition and how it affects men because they didn't really think it. They thought men grew out of it. And they didn't really think that women did. In fact, it gets worse for a lot of women when we hit perimenopause. And that is part of the thing. I don't know if that's been the case with you, Alice, but mine started around 37. Things got worse. My maladaptive coping mechanisms weren't there anymore because I've had a lot of therapy and done a lot of work around that, but I couldn't quite cope. So it turned into more of a binge eating, and I still struggle with my weight and eating now. And that disordered eating is extremely common. I think it's about 12% of
Yeah.
women with ADHD develop some sort of disordered eating because
Yeah.
of the dopamining that we do, and
Right.
because of the emotional dysregulation, and yeah, just poor understanding of how it all works and the lack of support.
Oh, I definitely this whole like the impact of missing it. I often think like, oh my God, how different would life have looked had I known? And I found out at 38. And when I was 15 to 25, I had a severe eating disorder. And I wouldn't say I've got an eating disorder now, but I am very conscious of food. And
It never leaves.
no, and it plays a huge, huge part in my life. Like my friend actually the other day, I can't remember what triggered it for her, but she just was like, "Oh my God, you," but she was upset about something about food and like became a bit like obsessed with food and stuff. And she was like, "Oh my God, is this what it's like in your head?" And I was like, yeah. She was like, "Oh, that's shit." And I was like, "Yeah." And I don't have an eating disorder anymore, but the thoughts around food definitely occupy my head more than what they need.
They call it food noise.
Yeah, so that food noise is still there, and there's so many reasons, isn't there, with like ADHD of things like, the dopamine and, all that not having structure or like we forget to realize we're hungry. And that's one of my ones is I forget I'm so engrossed in something, I will go beyond that point of hunger. Now I'm like 20 out of 10 hungry, and then I have to like overeat to be sort of satisfy myself. But now I feel sick because I've just overeaten, obviously, and then it just kind of but yeah, that's a scary statistic, 4 times as many, and one of the things that I think about with finding out late about ADHD is, God, if I'd known that when I was younger, could I have, like, prevented a decade of an eating disorder?
The amount of things I feel like I missed out on. I am a firm believer in not having regrets. Like, I can't
Yeah,
regret something I had no control over. No one was there to like we do now. We see it. I've seen it in my children. I've seen it in other things like obviously social media. We didn't have that growing
yeah,
up. Our parents didn't have the information we now have. However, I do look and I think about the fact that I absolutely sailed. This is another thing that's really common as well with girls in particular with ADHD, coast it through school and education
yeah,
to a point, and then things become really difficult. So for me, I was like A stars across the board.
yeah,
I was pushed down the route of going to Cambridge, and I applied for Cambridge. Dickhead here, as I now feel like it. Like now, I know it was ADHD, but I didn't do the coursework on time. I didn't do anything new. I didn't plan
yeah,
anything because I just did not have the mental capacity and wherewithal to do it. I could not do it. It's something I don't have a skill to do. Sit there and really like push myself to do those things. Then I couldn't be asked, really. I wanted to go to Cambridge, but I couldn't be asked doing the essay that they'd set me. Just let me come. I'm funny and quirky and I read a bit. And I'm good at it, man. I'm really good. I was a really good, an exceptional writer, and I loved analysing literature, but that noise is back, So I missed out on that. And then I just didn't have the confidence. It wears down your self-esteem over time. You probably
yeah,
get this as well. It just absolutely breaks your self-esteem down. And I was like, well, there's no point even trying to be a qualified lawyer. What's the point? I just decided I'd done my law degree. I'm going to go and insert myself into a secretarial role, no pressure, just do it. And I absolutely flew. And I ended up being a paralegal within a couple of months of joining a law firm. And that is where I sat. Even though they like paid for me to do the courses, to get fully qualified, to go down the Silex route, I couldn't sit and do the work. I still could not do it. I did my work in my job because obviously that was necessary, but the other thing didn't feel necessary, and it obviously wasn't that exciting. And I think it took getting this ADHD understanding. I only got my diagnosis last year at 43, but I knew I had it. I've known I've had it for like last 5 years. So knowing, and I just came to this realization one day. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? The reason I don't have that compulsion to do the work, that urge to really thrive and show the world how fucking good I am at law is I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm not fully invested.
Whereas
It's
now you've got your own
draining me.
business.
Sorry, Alice.
Now you've got your own business doing what you love.
Yeah, that's when I did an about
It's
turn and I'd
different.
started doing marketing, and now I've landed in visibility because it's something that I'm just fucking dead good at and I love. I love helping people get seen for the brilliance that they are because I know what it's like to
Yeah.
be hidden, to sit on those sidelines, to see other people achieving greatness and excelling and absolutely smashing it. Absolutely happy for them. Sad for me. Sad for me because it never happened for me,
Yeah.
but it
But it
is
is
now.
now. It's now.
Yeah,
It's now.
absolutely.
Which also, by the way, recently, we're at the Flamingo Awards in November 2025 and you were a winner.
Oh, yes, I'm a winner, baby. I won the award for Trailblazer in sales and marketing. So that was all very exciting. Still riding on the wave of that a little bit.
Why not? I'll do it for at least a year till the next awards. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think there is a huge. I'm gonna. Oh, there she. If you can't see because it depends what platform you're watching. She's holding it up. She's holding up her glass trophy.
I do have like a plaque somewhere as well, but I don't know where I've put it. I think I've put it down to be put up on the wall with many other pictures that have not made it there yet.
I was going to say with many other awards. But I think there's definitely like I'm going to use the word cost to not knowing and the impact of missing it, like things like
Yeah.
you say, like the eating disorder,
Mental
or maybe
health.
even going down the wrong career route. And had you know, would you have gone into law? Maybe not.
Absolutely. And like even getting into toxic relationships because your self-esteem gets worn down so much. You don't feel like you're worthy of it. And then you just get into these patterns. And I think until I got to a point where I was getting more aware of it and I was starting to understand and how to being able, obviously your emotional maturity, I don't know about it for you, but mine was a lot later. So because my emotional maturity came a lot later, that realization was a lot later that, oh my God, what am I doing with all these useless pieces of shit that I keep dating? I keep reinforcing that message to myself that I don't deserve better,
Well,
you know, and then it's breaking out of that. But for me, a bit different to you, but for me, it was having a child and thinking, shit, I don't want this for her. I don't want her to go through what I've gone through.
what other impacts do you think there's been for you about God? If only I'd known about it earlier, this wouldn't have happened. So for me, definitely things like eating disorder.
Eating disorder, my inability to study, so I haven't got all the
Mm.
qualifications I'd liked. I'm terrible for starting and not finishing things, like in terms of qualifications. I think there's also been a financial cost in terms of like spending compulsion,
Yeah,
spending addict. I would say definitely I've got into debt so many times and
yeah,
got out of it, get back in it, got back out of it, get back in it, and it's been a bit of a cycle. Like, um, it that is another unhealthy thing that doesn't get talked about a lot. I know Maddie Alexander Grau is a big advocate for
yes.
a
She's
group of
she's
support,
done
isn't
an
she?
episode with
She's done
me.
that fantastic book. Oh, has she? Well, she understands as well because she's had that spending addiction. And, it isn't just eating disorders. You are more likely with ADHD to develop addictions because it's, again, another maladaptive coping mechanism for dealing with the things that you don't know how to. And you've had no support with probably for vast majority of us, and also no medication. And I know a lot of people don't choose to go down that route, but some people do. And it absolutely can be life changing for people. But I just think having that knowledge and awareness can make such a difference to everyone. It's made a difference to even how I show up because I know I have got this reason now. I feel validated and I think, you know what, it's not going to hold me back. I know what it is.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
suppose it's like you, with what you do is exceptional for, I mean, I'm absolutely flawed that someone can do it who's got ADHD. All power to you. But what a wonderful gift you've got
Yeah.
for all those people with ADHD who can't do what you can.
Yeah.
You know, we've all
Yeah,
got little
I
talents.
listened to something really interesting though. It's called fuck. What is it bloody called? I even screenshotted it earlier and sent it to my mate. It's a book by Megan Griffiths, and it's about ADHD because it's coming more into my reality. I think I might have a touch of autism as well. So I went to listen to this book, and that's been said by guys, that's been said by clients, and said by some friends who also have ADHD. So I'm a bit like, maybe. So anyway, so I was listening to this book, and it was saying about when you've got ADHD and obviously time management is not your friend, organization and planning is not your friend, like how could you possibly be good at it? Because I was thinking that. I was like, oh, I'm actually really good at planning an organization and I'm known as the organized one. And then she said, is it because that's what you naturally like to do? Or is it a coping mechanism because you were so like berated for
Yes.
being this scatty, late, disorganized one? So then you put all these restrictive almost mechanisms and scaffoldings in place so that that didn't happen again. And I was like,
I've had this same conversation with my best friend because I think
yeah,
she is as well. I think she's ADHD. She is. She puts it down like as perfectionism is kind of a way of building structure into your life, so you don't have all those things that either irritate you or cause you the stress. Because we all know that ADHDers benefit from structure and routine. And that helps. Well, I assume people all know that. A lot of people know that we benefit from having that structure and routine. And when it's not there, we really struggle. However, creating that structure and routine is not something that most people with ADHD can do, but
yeah,
definitely people with ADHD do have that
yeah.
little string to their bow.
And I
It's not
think
always
that's
from a
what's
happy place though, is it? It's
no,
comfort.
and I think that's it. I don't think it necessarily came from a happy place. I think it came from I can't have another
Wanted.
fucking detention. I can't get in trouble with work again. Like it came from like a negative place rather than a love, which I think now has just become so ingrained that I can do it with my eyes closed. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like I'm definitely sometimes ADHD as fuck on certain things and it does my fucking head in. But I also have so many good coping strategies now, which I've tried and tested and then obviously can give to my clients being like, this one worked really well for me, this one didn't. And I think that's been my godsend. It's just I've been able to do it. I've done it over such a long time, over the last like 20 years, without knowing that I've got ADHD, that they've come ingrained now.
This is the brilliance though, because you know, having ADHD, what the things that we struggle look like. Because a lot of people will say to me, just put a reminder in your phone. I'm like, because I haven't fucking tried that a million times. One, I either forget to put it in, like
Oh, I
that's
don't know
really
where my phone
common
is.
for me. I just
Oh, I don't know where
forget.
my phone is.
Also, yeah, can't find my phone. Also, I am so bad for hitting snooze on an
Yeah,
alarm. Like I'll set a reminder and put an alarm on it, and I'll hit snooze, and then eventually it just goes, and then it's like out of my brain. So it doesn't work like that for me.
yeah,
Doesn't work like that. There must be other ways. I'm sure you know. I've developed some things. I have to put everything into my electronic calendar.
that's what I do.
Everything.
If it's not written
Yeah.
down, it's literally out of sight, out of mind. I have to even write down what I'm having for dinner because I guarantee we'll forget that it's in the fridge, defrosting, whatever, or sell by date, whatever. Like the amount of times
See,
I'm like,
this is good. This is a good level of organisation. I'm terrible at the minute. Like I've developed a really bad executive dysfunction over understanding what's in my fridge, organising and getting myself shopping to put in the fridge, and then being able to cook it. So most of the time I'm like, what's for tea? Let's nip out. Making it rain with money that I don't have.
take away again. Do you know what? This is really boring, and I don't know actually if this is more ADHD or autistic, but I've just succumbed to the fact that I eat the same foods pretty much 99% of the time, and to be okay with that, and to be like, it's just a coping mechanism. And I will actually do that ADHD thing where I'll hyperfixate on a food. So, dish of the month is insert this thing that I'm now obsessed with until I'm like, "Oh, can't eat that ever again," and then I'll hyperfixate on another food.
I
But
do
generally,
that
try to keep it very
mainly with
healthy.
chocolate. I have chocolate cycles. So I'll have one particular chocolate that I will eat and eat and eat. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm bored of you now. Get
Stick that.
another one.
What's the chocolate cycle at the moment? What are we on at the moment?
Maltesers. I've been on Maltesers for a couple of months.
Oh,
I've been on them for a couple of months, like, I think it's the stimming. So for me, a pack of Maltesers, it's always a fucking share bag. This is why I'm overweight. But um, I like the stimming, like I stim, I like eat
yeah,
while I'm working, or I like the fizz of Diet Coke as well. Diet Coke, that's horrendous. I'm sure that's
yeah.
like a thing.
I do have a little bit of a Pepsi Max addiction at the moment, which
Pepsi
out of all the
Max, Diet Coke.
addictions,
This is
yeah, I
not an
mean,
advert. Any of those
yeah,
fizzy cola soda varieties,
there are other fizzy-based drinks
sugar-free.
available.
There are others available.
Yes, I've had many addictions over my life, and I'm gonna put that one down as actually quite low on the riskiness and badness. So I'm like,
Correct.
there's other shit to fight, isn't there? So just let the fizzy drinks happen.
My addictions, luckily, have been mainly around food, food-centered kind of addictions, and then Diet Coke probably as well. Being quite addicted to that, I cannot kick that habit. I think I discovered it when I was at uni because I was really struggling, and I used to love the fizz of it while I was trying to concentrate. It's obviously stimming to try and get that dopamine to help me sit down, and it makes sense now. Everything just seems to make sense.
Yeah. I think that's
But yeah,
definitely
then
the thing
spending.
for me with the diagnosis is like I look back at the fucking 38 years going, oh, that makes so much sense now. So the weird food addictions, then not being able to like eat that food ever again, or the fact that I constantly touch my hair or rub my fingers or, tap my foot or the weird, I mean, we joke about the fizzy drink addiction, but I've also had issues quite recently with like being addicted to diazepam and not realizing, and alcohol problems when I was younger, and just my rage issues. Like when you just it all stacks up now. You just like again going back to this like the impact of missing it. Like how different would life have been had I fucking known? Like it doesn't take the
Another one.
ADHD
I've
away,
got
but
another one for you. This one's a blinder. Having babies.
mm,
I have been pregnant 6, 7 times. 7 times. I have 4 children. I have lost 3, unfortunately. But however, I will put a big caveat on this. I could not have coped with 7. I can't cope with 4. And I'm at a point now where I'm just like, what was I thinking? What was going on in my brain? Definitely dopamine. And also, a lot of research around this because my estrogen levels were declining in my 30s, my early 30s, which is when I were having the children. I felt better pregnant. And my doctor looked at me when I went to her and asked for some HRT when I was about 40. And she went, "You're too young." And I said, "Well, it saves me having more babies." And she said, "That's a bit extreme." I said, "But I feel better when I'm pregnant. There's some science to this."
yeah.
There actually is. It's the estrogen.
Okay. So I mean, I just share this on Instagram, so I love an overshare. Because I've said severe eating disorder, I lost my periods. So I developed it when I was 15. So I never really kicked into the whole period thing. I have turned 39 in September 2025, and I have just had 4 periods in a row. So that's my first time in 39 years that I have had 4 consecutive periods. So I am like, what the fuck is going to happen to the ADHD now? Because I feel like I'm only just hitting puberty. I shouldn't laugh. But at
I'm
40,
not
I'm hoping that my
morbid.
tits are going to grow. Like, there is fuck. Oh, if anyone can see on camera right now, I'm just there's nothing here. Maybe these might grow, but from a hormone ADHD
Does that mean
perspective,
it will put your menopause, delay your menopause?
I don't know because I'm fucking 40 this year. So I'm like, am I perimenopause or puberty? I don't know. But either way, I feel like it's shit's going to be shitty. So can't wait for that ride.
Well, hopefully your hormones are balancing out.
Yeah.
To get 4 consecutive ones sounds good. Like I used to be so regular, and this is when I started realizing as well, my brain just started getting worse than ever. Like my memory went from being, I used to have an almost photographic memory. Like if I needed something, I could
Yes,
just
that's
pack it in
me.
my brain and chuck it out. That's how I did my GCSEs. Pack it in, chuck it out for the exam. Can't remember any of it now. That is kind of what I did. It's how I got through my life. And now I can't even remember what someone just said to me 5 minutes ago. I can't think of words for things. It's like, it's awful. It felt like, and this is not an exaggeration, this is a common descriptor. It felt like I had dementia. I
Mm,
genuinely thought I had dementia. I kept going to the doctors like, what is wrong with me? And it wasn't until I was about 40 that I was like, well, I think I'm going through the perimenopause. And my doctor was like, no, too young, too young. And then eventually they did a test and they went, "Yeah, sorry, yeah, you've got ovarian failure, early onset ovarian failure, yeah."
yeah,
But I think that declining hormones was what was pushing
yeah,
me to have so many children, to keep that level up and keep me
yeah,
going and keep me feeling alive and capable because my
yeah,
brain was honestly shot at now.
yeah. I definitely have. I it's a working memory, isn't it? The short term, like very poor
Yeah.
working memory. Like if you said what you had for dinner last night, I'll be like, why am I in this room? I don't know. I have to go into the
No,
same
but I
room.
could probably tell you what I had at a certain event, like 3 years ago. I can't tell you what I had last night.
Exactly, yeah. But the other day I went to my nan's and obviously, been digital nomading for a little bit. My shit is everywhere in the world. But I knew exactly where my copper lamp was. And I knew it was in a blue seal, sort of sealable bag in the loft, wrapped in bubble wrap. So, you're just like,
I know some really, but that's an ADHD
that's 4 years
peculiarity, isn't
ago.
it? One of the idiosyncrasies of it is like my house is a dumpster fire of shite everywhere. Doom piles, floor robes, you name it. It's going on in my house. It's turned into something like of hoarders over the last couple of years. Anyway, I still know where every fucking thing is in that
Yes.
house.
And then if someone tries to tidy up, it's like, oh,
Right there.
my mum used to be like, your bedroom's so messy. And I'm like, yeah, but I can find
Organise
everything
missing.
in
I
10
know.
seconds. I know where it is. Yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds like me and my mum. My mum was like, bless her heart, she was such a tidy person, like obsessively. Definitely a touch of autism with my mother. I think she was autistic, and I think that was not seen. Because my mum as well, she's come from a different era, and we think about how things were missed with us. They were lost girls too, because my mum got diagnosed with schizophrenia in 2013. But I actually think the more I think about what's happening now and my understanding now, I'm like, she definitely was ADHD. And it can cause psychoses, and she was on diazepam quite a bit and lots of other drugs eventually. She was on antipsychotics to help ease her brain. But you just think about the impact even then, probably more so because I feel like there was so much more hidden violence and aggression and
Yeah.
trauma in that generation. Certainly in my family as a working class family, there's generations of it, of
Yeah.
child abuse and all sorts. It's horrific. And I just think about the impact on that on someone with neurodivergence as well. It's quite harrowing.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely like you say, lost. There's a lost girls, lost generation, especially like for us, women in their mid 40s, they're kind of coming up to the 40s, after the 40s, or whatever, and maybe their parents had it as well, and they wouldn't have known what signs to look out or how to cope with it themselves, and that, and then would have
She
caused
did.
some trauma.
100%. And I think one of the ways she controlled it was having everything where it had to be. Like, you couldn't
Yeah,
even put a plate down in the house. She would be screaming and absolutely off her rocker about it. She couldn't live with anyone else. She didn't in the final years, and then she found great peace.
she was like, "Finally, I found the answer. Don't live with anyone."
So the answer is no fucker else living in my house. That's great. Thank you.
So, just to end, lovely, what's been one of the most ADHD things that you have done in like the last week?
In the last week, I don't even know where to start with this. I stay up.
Today?
Because my structure is gone now, the kids are off school. There's a few things. So I'm staying up to like 4 or 5 every night because I can. No school runs. Worst thing I did, it was my little boy's birthday on the 29th of December, and I totally forgot to get him a birthday card or present. But this is how bad things are.
Flesh and blood.
My little lad, right? He's my number one fan. He was like, "It's okay, mummy, I've got birthday money to spend, and I'll just throw a card in bin anyway." I was like, "Well trained." He's so used to
Like,
it.
just not playing
He
MC or
didn't feel
something.
let down. He just doesn't expect it, so he's just like, "Yeah, I'm not bothered," and he just
Oh,
got on with
bless.
it. And all my kids are a bit like that. They're like, "You're not useless, mummy. We love you," and I'm like, "I am a bit useless, but I'm glad you don't know any different." But yeah, that's the worst.
That's subjective. Is getting presents, does that make you a good mum? No, there will be other shit that makes you a good mum.
I've built a sales page and done all the other stuff. Like I've been like hyper focus. Absolutely has been off the scale. However, forgot my child's birthday.
Yeah. That's fucking brilliant. Love it. And so
100%.
talking about obviously the impact of missing it, any last words that you would love to share if anyone's listening to this and kind of resonating with what we're saying?
Do you know? I think self-diagnosis is valid. I think people know themselves, and people need to stop gatekeeping ADHD. Like having a piece of paper gives you a right. There's a lot of people that do that. And what I would say is, if you feel like you may have ADHD, or you may be autistic and it's debilitating you. Because let's be honest, some people can function and it just is mildly annoying. It'll be varying degrees with everyone, but if it's debilitating you, get the help. There is support out there. It may be a bit long-winded, but reach out to people who can support you.
Yeah. And
That
I
would
think
be
even
it.
just,
Carry on being struggling and being
yeah, and even that support might just be things like, listening to podcasts or talking to other ADHDers about it, or,
knowing that you're not
just,
alone. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's
absolutely.
just that, isn't it?
Just learn more and understand yourself and be kind to
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast, because I listened to so much of other people's lived in experience and content when I was like finding out like what's this ADHD malarkey, and then was like, and it was like absorbing that from others. So important. Like it really helped me. Babe, thank you so much for being so you, real, honest, just making us laugh, but also just sharing that vulnerability as well. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you for being such a safe space for that. It's lovely what you're doing.
Pleasure, my pleasure. If people want to come stalk you in a respectful, professional manner, where can they find you, Kim?
Well, my user tag on pretty much every social that I'm on is at Let's Get Visible AF. That's me, Kim Antrobus. So yeah, they can come
No,
and
I've got a
stalk
little
me.
bit of a confession. I'm actually also really dyslexic. And when I first saw your Instagram handle,
Leaf.
I obviously just read Leaf. And then I was like, I
I
don't get
see
the
Leaf all the
connection.
time. I think
I've
I
got
might
it
be
now.
dyslexic as well. But yeah, I see Leaf all the time.
Yeah.
Let's get
But anyway,
visibility.
so no, it's not Leaf, but I'll tag in show notes as well. Brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into Confessions of an ADHDer. If this episode made you laugh, cry, or just feel seen, then please hit follow so you don't miss a future episode. And if you've got your own ADHD confession, come share it. Sharing is caring. Send me a DM on Instagram, Alice_Darnell, and I promise you, you are definitely not the only one, and you are definitely not alone. Please remember as well, as a time and energy management coach, it is my job to help you and your business unfuck your flow and take action. So come check me out on Instagram, Alice_Dartnell. I've got plenty of free resources there. Or if you want to chat to me about joining the Business by Design community, then please do. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being on the journey, and I'll see you next time.